Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read-through for Tower of God Chapter 50, or Tower of God, Urek Mazino Chapter 50. I'm just so used to just saying Tower of God when talking about it casually still. But I am excited thinking more about last week's chapter. I thought that it was really cool, really good finishing out Floor 2 in the way that we did and moving on to Floor 3, actually getting to see Floor 3. There are some things that could have been more developed, more detailed, sure. And also, Garam coming in is pretty immediate. I think the dude that's taking out the blonde-haired guy is maybe an RED member. Maybe that'll still be a thing again. I am so sorry. I tried to avoid the title this week. I tried my hardest, but it's so difficult. It's like literally at the top of the screen right now. It's in the link. It's everywhere. It's hard to not just catch it. And after, like, I watch other people's reactions. So after doing my own video last week, I'm watching other people's reactions. And after that, with even more sort of perspective, I do think the title last week was even worse, and I guess that might continue into this week, because we got this end of Floor 2 stuff that was really nice. That was perfectly fine stuff. Again, grading on a Tower of God curve. But it was really nice, and now it's like, oh, all of that stuff happened in the Garam chapter, and Garam just showed up in like 2 panels at the end. More than 2, but you get my point. So it's a bit disappointing that that was spoiled, even though it's something that only happens in a couple panels at the end. And I feel like I've been seeing kind of a bit of that from webtoons recently. I mean, from Urek Mazino especially, but I can't remember if ORV did that any too. So is that a new, like, webtoons naming scheme, something that they're trying to do to bring in readers? Or with Naver, since it would be originally in Korean. But either way, not a fan of that with the title and everything. And really with the way that things wrapped up, like I said, it could have been better, but I think it was fine. I think it was good. I have been, for so long, there have been some issues here and there where I'm like, oh, that's really bad. That's like exceptionally bad, like the ending to the Crown game. But other than the things that were exceptionally bad, I have generally been, compared to what I've seen from a lot of other people, positive and just having fun with Urek Mazino. But as I said earlier, I am grading on a Tower of God curve. In the past, because of reading it and rereading it, over 10 times, well over 10 times, and reading it since 2011, because of what it was like being in the fan space for Tower of God and talking about Tower of God, reading things like Workshop Battle week to week, I held Tower of God at this really high standard, because Season 1, arguably all the way up through, like, you know, Floor of Death, like, so much of that is so good. That's so extremely good that I held Tower of God at a really high standard, and I just have to accept that I cannot hold CU. I cannot hold Tower of God to that kind of standard. It is not going to live up to that level of writing. It's not even going to be close to that. Sadly, this is going to sound really harsh to me. I mean, it sounds really harsh being like, you know, I cannot hold CU to that level. But also, like, Tower of God, what it was, is dead. It died years ago, and it didn't go out with a bang, or it didn't even go out with like a, hey, you know, I can't stop writing anymore. It went out with a, you know, we've got an imposter, we've got a zombie masquerading itself as Tower of God for almost a decade. That's kind of how it went out. And being really real about Tower of God's future, with the kind of way that Season 3 was written and the length of Season 3, and the way that we're now in a Urek Mazino spinoff for over a year. Just being real about the passage of time that we all must deal with. This is either going to have a really rushed ending, or CU is just never going to finish it, and there's going to come a point where it's like, yeah, you know, again, there's going to come a point where CU's either got to decide, hey, I got to really rush an ending, or it's just not happening. It's just not having an ending. And honestly, I would rather I would rather a series, the author do what they want with it and take their time with it, and then just be like, crap, I'm getting old, there's no time for an ending. I would rather that than a rushed ending, for me personally. But again, if people would prefer it to have some sort of conclusion, have a rushed ending, that makes sense too. But just being real, there is no way that it stays at the pacing that it's had and has a actually well-paced conclusion. That's just, I don't think at this stage in, again, the grander universe, time passing for all of us, there's no way I feel that happening at all. So there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah, and bringing up, I said the authors, what the author wants to do with it and respecting that. I also have to respect CU because people brought up, with the blog post stuff, we are not going to be able to take it super literally. And I've kind of always said that to a degree. I was like, oh yeah, we can't take it super literally. Just take it as like rumors that people in the tower would have heard. Like people in the tower would have heard that things happened like this. But when we actually see it in the webtoon, it might be totally different. It might be way different. But I think the problem that CU's running into writing-wise with the blog post, where it's like, oh, you can't take any of it seriously, is that you can't have your cake and eat it too. CU has done so many reveals or so many things in the story that relied on people having blog post knowledge. So you can't do things that rely on people having blog post knowledge, then delete the blog post, say they don't matter anymore, and continue on writing that way, because... And even after that, have some things that kind of still rely on a little bit of blog post knowledge for people to get. I think you can't have your cake and eat it too like that. You either the blog posts matter or they don't. And he's kind of tried to have it both ways. And I think at this point, once you've done it one way, it's a little bit late to say, oh no, they don't matter at all. Completely delete them, forget about them. I think that that's dumb. And I also think it's kind of dumb in the way that when people, again, back in the day, used to tell other people to read Tower of God, used to promote Tower of God, the biggest thing everybody always talked about was the world building, how good the world building is. People loved all of that blog post stuff. People really, really enjoyed that. And I almost have to commend the bravery of being like, oh, the world building, all this stuff that people loved about your series, all this stuff that people really, really cared about, we're not doing that anymore. All this writing that you cared about, we're not doing that anymore. And, I don't always agree with like Korean fans' opinions and stuff, but you look at the comments on the week to week, which I have often done, and he is getting cooked. I can't imagine what it's like to keep holding on and keep writing when you are getting cooked so hard every single week for arguably years now. When you're getting cooked this hard, and to say all this stuff that people enjoyed, we're not doing this anymore, but all of these things that people seem to near universally, almost universally hate, to continue to make those same mistakes, to continue to double and triple and quadruple down on things that pretty much everybody has hated. That, I think, is like, I respect the author's intent, even if I don't think the author's intent ends up being very good story-wise. It's insane to, again, just continue on with that. So, again, I just wanted to say I enjoy Tower of God Urek Mazino, but I am grading it on a much lower scale because, to be harsh, after what we've seen over years now, I cannot hold CU to that high of a standard, and Tower of God, as it was, has been dead. It is dead. And also, like, viewership number-wise, again, to keep doubling down on these things that everybody complains about, when you look at, you can't really necessarily see views all the time, but you can see the amount of comments or the amount of likes, and it seems like you've lost, like, 90% reader base. Like, you're down to, like, 10% of what things once were, but you keep doubling down on the things that people don't like, while continually saying, continually unwriting the things that people did like. insane decisions, but, I am here for it. I am carrying on through it, much like Siu himself is carrying on through it. So I don't think there was much else to say. That's just all stuff that the comments from last week and watching other people's videos and streams from last week had me thinking. But with that aside, didn't really need the long Haku intro, but either way, let's start with chapter 50. Trying to think if I was forgetting anything else. I'm sure I did. But we continue with these Garam panels. A princess of Zahard. Now clean the wax out of your ears, and that's where we end it. I think technically we cut away and had the Latour scene after that, but we have episode 50. Again, kind of hard to miss it, Bikrian. I'm sure you've been dreaming of success after getting through the floor of tests. Also, timeline-wise, right. That's something I was going to bring up. So timeline-wise, so you can kind of change it however he wants. I think, though, this definitely puts us before the Eurasia N incident. Again, if we're assuming that Eurasia N and Garam stuff is going to happen around the same time. But the way it was written, again, if we're tossing out the blog post, the way it was written in Floor of Death, there is a chance that the N stuff happened a while before the Garam stuff. So this could be after N, but before the Garam and Uram stuff. It could be if they didn't happen at around the same time. Or if in the tower, around the same time is like within a couple hundred years. So maybe there's a gap of time in there for all that we know. But generally, it seemed like when the family heads were starting their families, like the Yamazu flashback, if you were to ask me my guess is that's like 10,000 years ago, maybe even more. That's a long time ago. And the Eurasia N stuff was said to be like 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Again, it might be older than that. It might be more recent than that. We don't know how CU's going to change things, but it kind of makes sense that, we could be a couple thousand years back. We're not like Amazu flashback level of back where the tower's climbing system was just kind of in its infancy, but we are still thousands of years back. And who knows where that'll put like all the Phantaminum stuff. It seems like people don't know about Phantaminum yet, though. So I think that Phantaminum and the Zahard's Palace stuff, that hasn't happened yet. I don't know if we'll see it happen here. Maybe it happens much, much later than the events of the spinoff, than the events of Urek's Climb. But that could happen way later, for all we know. But I don't think it's happened yet, since it seems like people don't know about Phantaminum yet. So Phantaminum and the ones who were once shining seem to be just hiding out in the tower right now, and doing their own thing, like what they were trying to do with Mago. Okay, I'm sure you've been dreaming of success after getting through the floor of tests. So, this is quite unfortunate. Her Highness's mission will not be complete. Okay, there's this guy. Until all of you are dead. And the weapon from Mago is left behind? Really? You're also a princess of Zahard, and the Mago princess runs away. I saw somebody call her Mago Zahard, and I was like, well, the princess was nameless. So I guess kind of Mago Zahard now. Also, we're not that common, What do you mean? There's one right here. I mean, I like this commentary because it feels like they're somewhat common. Huh? As many as we get to see. Hey, she's just booking it on foot. Get back here. And then Garam fires toward Urek's face, but he just grabs it in midair. He caught it. If you really need to kill her, make sure to kill the one inside her. What? Hold on. There's one more. Where the others are sleeping. Darn it, I guess I need to go back. He turns around. Hey, what is it now? He takes off past her. Did he just fly away? We have Rohan sleeping. Door creaks open. And this slug guy comes in. Again, I love the freaky, weird designs. I'm glad to see some more of those. I feel like we don't see enough of those. Just weird-looking Tower of God people. Knock it off. Here it comes in. Who? He just punches and breaks through the weapon. Urek? Ah, and again, just making jumps in logic. RED guy jumps out, just assuming he's working with Garam. Where did he come from? What happened? Your Highness, my apologies, I was interrupted. Were you able to eliminate your target? I lost her too. Someone interfered, and it was probably the same one who stopped you. Because again, RED working with the princesses is just something that we know from Season 1. I'm sorry, Your Highness. I should have been more quiet. No, it's not your fault. He was strong. I don't know who he is or what he wants. But for now, we retreat. They're team rocketing. They just run off. Garam's lodging. 3rd floor of the tower. Leicester City. Okay. He just came out of nowhere. And he was way too powerful for a regular. But I still need to kill them. Those were my orders. Eliminate my targets on the 3rd floor. Then start climbing the tower. I've been waiting for so long. I don't want to be stuck here forever. Okay, so we're actually going to have Garam climb with Urek, potentially, which I think is cool. Also, because of the title of this, it sucks because last week, as good as things were, you're always expecting when's Garam gonna show up because of the title, and it distracts from how good the end of Floor 2 was. And I feel like the same thing happens here, where I am interested in all this, but at the same time, I have to think the whole time, okay, when's Baekryun showing up? But if this means that she also potentially climbs with him from the 3rd floor, and Baekryun climbs with him from the 3rd floor, I like that. I like the idea. Even though, again, the original Baekryun and Urek story is so good, that doesn't mean the original story is totally not going to be how it happens, but it's going to be majorly tweaked, and I think that it can be a good thing. I think the relationship will feel good if he and Baekryun are like kind of the main two of the team and climb to the top, because right now, I mean, it's going to be kind of sad. Right now, it feels like Urek and Evelyn are the top two, but Evelyn is also clearly not Urek's equal. Like, she's a peer, but not really a peer at the same time. And it feels like if Garam and Baekryun do join the team, that kind of invalidates Evelyn a teeny bit. And even then, as much as I love Garam, I would kind of also not want Garam to have that same kind of level necessarily, like maybe just a little bit below. The same kind of level of Urek and Baekryun. But then again, Urek is just OP from the start. So will Urek's being here invalidate his teammates in general? I don't think it has to. Like, I think you can climb with a super OP teammate and still, have the teammates play their own roles. Like right now, Evelyn, I think, is really strong, really cool, really good as a regular, and she's just part of Urek's team. The other teammates can't say as much. Like, Rohan, again, doesn't feel as strong, but I'm cool with him sticking around as just emotional support, doing what he can when he can. Though we probably should get at least a little bit strong to have to deal with all the things that they're going to have to deal with. But it'd be interesting if, because this is really, Floor 3 is really early, if Garam and Baekryun are around from this early. I was not expecting either of them. Like, I didn't necessarily expect Garam and Urek to meet as regulars, but Urek and Baekryun, if they met and climbed together as regulars, I wouldn't have thought until like maybe a third of the way through. I don't want to be stuck here forever. Why do you think I was ordered to kill all the other regulars? On top of the nameless princess, though. And Urek just slides in because the dead don't talk. How did you sneak up on me? You don't mind if I come in, do you? Anyway, they probably want you to kill all of us to hide what's been happening on the floor of tests. That's the feeling I got, at least. How much of that did you hear? And of course they were ordered not to talk, but Urek's like, well, I'm strong enough. I can just talk. I started listening right when you said you can only move on to the next floor if you kill the nameless princess. And now I'll have to kill you too. She pulls the weapon again. You can give it your best shot, but if you can't, you'll need to follow my orders. And he wraps her up. Release me. I said release me at once. God, get me out of this thing. Nope, then you'll just attack me again. Your Highness, don't even try it, or I'll split her head in half. Ugh. How is he so strong? He can't be a regular, there's no way. So, why do you need to kill the nameless princess? And I don't remember if it was in my comments or somebody else's, but it's neat seeing how everybody reacted to Bomb being irregular as an irregular after seeing the stuff in the spinoff, because now we're seeing more than just like the climb with the family heads and everything. Urek and the ones who were once shining just enter the tower in their OP. Bomb didn't get to do that, and the 13 great warriors climbing didn't necessarily seem like they got to do that either. Like, they were super strong. They got to, not follow the rules. They were regulars. They got to play by their own rules. But it also seems like they had to kind of grow and strengthen up as they went through. But irregulars seem scary when you see, like, Urek, Obrion, Mago, etc. They just enter the tower, and like what we saw with Enryu, just waltzing through the door to the floor of death. Like, they just come in and are crazy OP. So, why do you need to kill the nameless princess? I mean, what did she even do? I don't know. I was only told she'd likely enter the tower, so I need to kill her and then start making my way up. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting here? It's been 150 years. And also, so that she would enter the tower, is she not under the command of Zahard to do this? I was assuming Zahard commanded it, but if she's an actual princess of Zahard, then why would it be bad for her to enter the tower like this? At this rate, I'll just wither away and die on this floor. This is the chance I've been waiting for. So why are you trying to ruin it? She goes for a kick. God, let go of me. Sure I will. She's holding her upside down while she's all tied up. Garam has been really funny this chapter. Once you promise not to come after us. Do you really think I'm going to say that after waiting 150 years? At least tell me where you think the nameless princess went. She probably went to take the test. What else would she want to do besides move on to the next floor? Okay, this is cool. If she's like, what am I going to do after 150 years? If he's like, just climb with us. Who cares? Like, if you're strong enough, it doesn't matter. It sounds like there's a pretty clear solution then. If she moves on to the next floor, you would have to follow her to kill her and complete your mission, right? Am I wrong? So maybe they'll just be replacing Nameless Princess with Garam. I am a princess of Zahard. I won't stoop to using such methods, or I guess I should call Nameless Princess Mago at this point. Yeah, and I'm the one and only Urek Mazino who could end you right here if I wanted to. Team up with me. Let's go after her. Or you can just die. Fine, let go of me. Just to be clear, I'll accompany you and the others, but if I go up against the Nameless Princess, I'm going to kill her. What is this place anyway? It seems pretty big. Sure. This place is home to the Lesters, who live on the 3rd floor. They live here instead of climbing the tower? Yes, they've given up on it. After what they went through on the floor of tests. They all have their own reasons. Some don't want to kill, and some are terrified of tests. You might think they're failures, but they're really not too bad once you meet them. I never thought of them as failures. Those who don't want to kill people are rarely worse than those who do. Yeah, I guess so. Still, I can't just stay here forever. I have my own reasons for climbing the tower. Your own reasons, huh? Yeah. I'm not just doing this for fun. And that's why I must kill the Nameless Princess. What if... Maybe this is related to her sister, but I think this could be a neat way to do Baekryun's story, because I think in the original blog or something it was like Baekryun was just hanging out in his forest or whatever when Urek found him, so he always had this kind of like peaceful sage type vibe. What if, because again we've been spoiled that Baekryun's coming in here, what if Baekryun is one of the Lesters who don't want to kill and have given up on climbing because they don't want to kill? that would kind of go along with the impression that I have of Baekryun's character as kind of this like sage-like character. So getting introduced to this concept kind of works, I feel like. So, you're on the run too. Who were those people? Why do they want you dead? I thought you were a princess here. That's none of your business. You need my power to get away from them and climb the tower, so maybe you should tell me. Okay, so Princess is in control. Mago's just speaking from within. Why they're coming after you, who you really are, and why you're hollow. You're meant to be a vessel, aren't you? But not for me, for someone else. Okay, so maybe that's why she wasn't supposed to climb, and why the Zahard Empire doesn't want her climbing, is because Zahard didn't make her as like a real princess. Zahard made her as a vessel for something. Who is it? The next morning, Urek's team lodging within Leicester's city. Listen up, everyone. We lost a teammate yesterday, and now we have a new one. Okay, so the RED guy, maybe a ranker already for all we know. He's kind of dipped out, and now we're replacing the nameless princess with a new princess. Also, everybody complaining that they kept Gogo-jung around, and yeah, it is really, really stupid. If it was just the crown game stuff, I would get it, but he literally, I think twice in the final examination, for no reason. He didn't have any benefit to betray them. He betrayed, he called them out, tried to like get attention to them running away and stuff, even though that doesn't benefit him at all. He tried to screw them over like twice with no benefit to himself. So yeah, screw this guy, get him out of here. We lost a teammate yesterday and now we have a new one. This is Garam. What am I doing here? Just so you know, she's a princess of Zahard. That's supposed to be a secret. Third floor test briefing site. Alright. When we were having that Princess and Mago conversation in the forest, I was almost expecting, like this whole time we're expecting Baekryun to meet Urek, but I was almost expecting him to be there and meet the princess. Is the nameless princess here? Yeah. And we see her in the forest. She's right there. Good morning, everyone. I am the test director of the third floor. Please, look over there for the objective of this test. Is he pointing at Leicester City? Your goal is to make sure that city ends up completely devoid of people. Damn. All of the peaceful people who have lived here without climbing after passing the floor of tests. And again, this ties into the impression I have of Baekryun, if he is going to be like one of the Leicesters. You may drive them out or kill them. That's entirely up to you. You have 1 week. By the end of that week, the population of Leicester City must be reduced to 0. I've finished the briefing. Good work. I'm sure the test will go exactly as you wish. Please, do not let it concern you. It's not the test I'm worried about. No one can know. My child is in that city. Good morning. All right. Hey there. I've already set up the stalls, so I just need you to clean up a bit. Thanks again, Baekryun. And we finally see him after all of these years. Of course, don't mention it. Here, this one's on me. You sly fox. You never give me any discounts, and now you're giving me a freebie? When it comes to satisfying customers, I'm the king. Here you go, a royal apple from the king himself. And they see Urek's group. And we end there. Alright, liking the changes to Team Urek. Still can't trust Gogo-jung. We really need to drop this guy. Baekryun looks really neat. I almost kind of wish his introduction was present time, though. I kind of wish that maybe even in Season 3 we just saw him talking to Urek or something. That way we would have an idea of what present was like before seeing this flashback version. But we know that he's going to end up the leader of Song. So, however that happens, maybe that's what's going to happen to the city here, is that Urek and Baekryun will relocate them. We know they're going to form some sort of close relationship at some point if they're going to be the co-leaders of All Hikesong. So now we have to figure out how this relationship's going to happen. But I like Garam already. I will be honest, I was never really won over by the Nameless Princess. I'm very intrigued in her story after this week, but as a character, I'm not all that won over. But Garam was really entertaining, so I like her here as new member of the... And even the shot of the team here, they look so cool together. RAP blonde guy, and I guess Aru didn't make it in the shot. But either way, I guess that's it for this week. I don't have too much else to say. A lot of the discussion was front-loaded in the long Haku intro. Sorry about that. But I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. And I guess that's it. I feel like I was way too harsh in the intro, but also that's just my thoughts, like my honest thoughts. I said it was going to be harsh. But Tower of God just isn't what it used to be. But that doesn't mean I can't have a lot of fun like I did with this chapter and last chapter and almost every chapter of the spinoff. It's just that, I would consider it a series at a certain level of writing, not one of the, before, if you would have asked me, I would have said Tower of God was my favorite series of all time, number one, maybe somewhat easily. I would have said that it is my favorite of all time. And I was just holding it up there with series that I think are like all-time greats. Now, I can have fun with it. I can think it's fun and enjoyable. It's just not an all-time great. That's where I think things have changed. But again, like I said, I respect CU doing what CU wants, even when it seems like, almost everybody hates it sometimes. But either way, I'll end things here. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching. If you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my first thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God, Urek Mazino, much more on the channel. I will also say that the title again this week, like last week, same sort of problem. This should have been titled Garam. Garam was so fun. Garam was so fun here. I'm really intrigued in the stuff with the Nameless Princess now because we have her and Mago talking and, maybe forming a relationship. She's supposed to be a vessel for something, which we already knew, but now the mystery with that's deepening even further. This was a good chapter that I think could have been named Garam, especially when the title Garam kind of spoils her showing up last week and kind of takes attention away from how good the stuff was last week. So titling this Baekryun takes attention from how good the other stuff was, and again, he just shows up in a couple panels at the end. It's not like he did anything. It's not like it was a really grand entrance either. If you don't know who Baekryun, if for some reason people picked up Urek and don't read actual Tower of God and have no clue, have never heard the name Baekryun before, then, this was not a crazy introduction or anything. It's not like he did anything nuts. And I mean, even if you're saying, people who never ever read the blog post or talked to anyone who read the blog post, if you're just reading casually on your own, Baekryun's barely been mentioned in the main series. Again, that's one of those have your cake and eat it too things where the mentions of Baekryun in the main series are reliant on people having read the blog posts, where CU will sometimes write things that are reliant on people having that info, and then sometimes being like, none of that info matters. It's like, okay, either it doesn't matter or it does. Be at least a teeny bit more consistent. But either way, if you want to help support the channel by sharing around or dropping a super thanks, it's appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already members and patrons. You get your name at the end of videos and get One Piece bingo early. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Holly and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls Dee Van and Maru, Cherryton Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ariel. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.